What's up, everybody? On this episode of the Boston Ski Party, we are joined in studio by our good friend and Tecnica Blizzard sales rep, Adam Sink. Yeah, dude. So you guys just had a fucking meeting. That must have been sick.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah.
Nice.
So first time I've seen like a bunch of the new stuff kind of in its entirety, basically.
In its form.
Yeah.
In its real life form.
Yeah. I think we have some good things coming. I'm excited, actually.
Nice. Is this the most you've been excited since taking this new role?
In terms of product? I was pretty stoked for Rustler Shiva last year. Rustler and Shiva was a pretty fun, because that's kind of our wheel. That's my wheelhouse. That's a lot of It's kind of the stuff we ski. But I think actually the new direction that we're taking with some of the new stuff for next year is definitely going to be, a little bit more akin to that kind of Rustler type feel. So I think I would say I'm equally as excited this year as I was last year with the new collection.
Nice. And this new stuff, I mean, we can't really get into it too much, and we'll do a separate episode on this once that it is all revealed. So without getting too deep into it, one question I do have, and I know that these guys probably are thinking the same thing, like as far as like in terms of kind of like new collection compared to what you guys just dropped with with the new Rustlers, which are awesome. I mean, how much more is there going to be? A lot of like overlap, or is it kind of like a whole new segment altogether?
It's definitely a whole new segment altogether, but some of the things that we've learned, it's pretty cool the way Blizzard operates, in that they take kind of what they learn from certain categories and move them forward and start to apply them to different categories and realize like what works and what doesn't work. So there's some kind of some construction things going on with the new stuff that kind of harkens to what we've learned from Rustler and Shiva, I think. So that even though they're definitely different animals, different categories designed kind of for different people, some of the underlying technology stories and the performance of the ski, I think there is a little bit of comparison that you can draw between the two.
Sweet.
Yeah.
And how are you guys feeling about first impressions without revealing too much, George and Burko?
The skis and boots are very good.
Okay.
They've given us a reason to buy more stuff.
All right. All right.
Yeah, so maybe I will get that boat.
Mind you, he has 3 boats already. He
already
has 3 boats.
How many goats do you have?
I have 4 goats. Yeah.
4 goats.
We're already, it's 4 goats, 3 boats. That's a children's book. We're writing one right now.
Oh, that's perfect.
Stuff looked really good. I think it was, obviously we were lucky enough to be part of that process going back to last year. Seeing graphics, name ideas, stuff like that. So seeing you guys take feedback and listen was pretty sweet.
Yeah, we try to listen. I mean, it's not up to me really, but I like to think that some of our design team and our bosses kind of listen to what guys like you guys say, which is cool.
Yeah, they definitely listen. Like not just like on how the ski is going to perform or where it's going to be placed, but on the graphics, which is incredibly challenging for any ski manufacturer. I mean, I don't know how many rounds of skis we've already looked at, and the finished product is nice.
Cool. Thank you.
Well, dude, Adam Sink, stoked you're here, brother.
Stoked to be here.
I'm glad you want to do the podcast. When we knew you're coming in for the meeting, I was like, Berkowitz, tell Sink he's doing the podcast. And then he's like, Adam doesn't think he's interesting enough to do the podcast. And I'm like, nope, he's doing it. He's fucking doing it.
Well, I was curious if you guys have had a sales rep on before. And
we haven't.
And that's, so I feel pretty honored to be the first.
Dude, you're the first sales rep.
First sales rep on here, which actually is kind of cool because I feel like, we go back a long way.
We do go back a long way.
The 3 of us and the 4 of us really. So,
so to touch on that, for people who are listening, Adam Sink's been a sales rep in the industry for a long time, especially here in New England. And he can kind of go through a little bit of his story as we kind of talk here today. But he was with Rosignol for it seemed like, like 30 years, which doesn't really make sense. But it does seem like he was there for a few decades.
8, yeah.
8, yeah. It was a long 8 years, though, I feel like.
Yeah.
And that's how we met him when he was actually, we were working with Scott initially when you were working for Peter Kidd.
Yep.
That was the first time that we met you. And then when you transitioned to Rossi, you were like our liaison, if you will, because George and I were just these young kids in the industry. And they're like, oh, yeah, have Adam talk to George and Eric because he could probably relate to him a little bit better. So, and they were right because you did.
Yeah.
And I remember, actually, this is a kind of a funny story because it doesn't seem like it's that long ago, but at the same time, it feels like it was like really long time ago. Was we had you had a clinic at Zimmerman's when we were working at Zimmerman's, and we afterwards, you, me, and Georgia, we got pretty loose, and we were playing. You had like the Rozzy beer pong tables at the time.
Oh yeah.
The Rozzy beer, they had like clinic tables for whatever. So we played some beer pong, and then we went and we were just drinking beers in the parking lot, before we left. And it was like it was us three. We were just talking about energy type stuff. And then George and I were like, yeah, dude, you know, like, I don't know. We think we're going to we want to open a store in Boston eventually, like someday. And you were like, dude, it's a great idea. And I'm like, yeah, I'm like, we don't really know like how that's going to work or like the logistics of something like that.
Yeah.
And you're like, dude, just fucking do it, man. Just do it. And thinking at the time, like us just saying that out loud seemed like so wildly crazy. But the fact that we were playing beer pong at Zimmerman's, and you know, here we are now in Boston, and you're doing the Boston Ski Party is pretty funny.
Yeah. You guys, you know, it was cool to watch you guys hatch the plan, and you know, as it evolved. Obviously, there were a lot of in between years between that beer pong and parking lot session and where we are today, obviously. But and for me as well, you know, it's been cool to kind of evolve in this ski industry. It's a fun place to be.
So I mean, you did spend 8 years at Rozzy. So like walk us through those kind of years, because that was, I mean, and feel free to disagree, but that was like really like your building years, like as far as like being a sales rep, you know, doing lots of different travel type things, working in New England market. I mean, you're at Hood a bunch. Like, what were those years like for you?
The Rozzy years, well, so I mean, even before the Rozzy years, like I had a little, you know, you mentioned the Peter Kidd years, but I basically started, you know, my first official job out of college in the ski industry was working for Elan, believe it or not, when they were still in West Lebanon, and I was making $2,000 a month under the table, basically draw a check for 6 months a year. I had a beater van, and I was on cloud nine. I was like, this is the best thing ever.
Who was running Elan at that time?
A guy named Peter Knights, and yeah.
So pre-Clint.
It was pre-Clint. Yeah.
Wow.
It was when John Stoller actually owned Elan and Dolomite. It was Elan Dolomite. And then, yeah, so I did that for basically a year and a half. Realized that $2,000 a month wasn't enough to really do too much with. And then Peter Kidd after that with Scott, and that kind of, you know, paid me a little more, not much more. And then to Rozzy, and that's where it kind of, you're right. I think that's where it kind of really kicked off. And those were amazing years. I mean, it came on right at the end of the Quicksilver years when Rozzy was owned by Quicksilver.
And what year was that?
That was
when did you start with Rozzy?
It was 2007 that I started with Rozzy.
You did get another sweet van out of Scott and Peter Kidd, though.
Yes. Well, no. By the time I actually owned it, it was falling apart, and it was a junk heap, and that was a big factor. So Rozzy, you know, I was working for Peter with Scott, and I had this van that wouldn't go anywhere, and then Rosignol, you know,
that was a joke, by the way.
Well, yeah,
I knew it was a shitty van.
No, I know. But let me finish the story. Rozzy came to me and was like, hey, like, you know, we're looking for somebody in New England, you know, another quote unquote tech rep sort of thing. And like, and by the way, it comes with a brand new Jeep Commander. And I was like, well, that's about all I need right there. That seals it.
I'll take it.
Yeah, so I took it, and it was a great decision. Quicksilver sold Rosignol, I think, a year or two after I had been there, and there were basically 12 of us in the country at that point, kind of tech reps running around with these $60,000 Jeeps. Yeah. And when Quicksilver sold it, it went down. It was eliminated down to two. Basically, there was an East Coast tech rep and a West Coast tech rep, and I was one of the ones. I can remember the call that I got from a guy named Jason Newell, who said, he called me and he's like, Adam, I made a lot of really tough calls today, and I'm happy to tell you that this is not one of them. You still have your job. It's like,
sick.
God, thank God, you know.
Sick. So can I keep the Jeep?
Yeah. And the Jeep.
There's a job with the Jeep. Is it both or?
Yeah.
Yeah. And Newell was single-handedly the guy responsible for that Jeep deal. I mean, when everybody moved west with Rosignol, he managed to stay in the East in Vermont literally because he was the guy that did the Jeep deal every year.
Yeah.
And how many Jeeps did you ruin
Man,
again?
I had so many Jeeps that I trashed in. And it was literally like 2 years with like a really nice, expensive, top of the line, you know, Grand Cherokee Overland Edition, you know, just show up at the dealership. Here's the keys to the old one. Here's the keys to the new one. See you later.
Gosh,
you know, have at it. And it was just, yeah, that was a big perk of the job with Rosignol for sure.
And a couple of those over the years got dropped off at my buddy's Jeep dealership, and he he would ask me what kind of things were happening in those vehicles. It's
Yeah.
like, yo, I don't know what these guys are doing to these cars, but they're literally destroyed.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, wasn't mine.
Yeah.
So
It's a free Jeep, bro.
Yeah.
It's
run
a,
this
it's a
thing.
Jeep thing, dude.
drive it
It's
like a rental.
It's a Jeep thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a Jeep
Yeah.
thing.
Definitely.
Yeah, there's like quite a bit of DNA in some of those Jeeps from you.
Mhm.
From me?
I'm talking about throw up, Adam. But
Yeah. Okay.
I was-
Well, sometimes I would show up, go to into shops, and they'd be like, "Adam, why are you only wearing one sock?" Gets lonely
It's a
on the
Jeep
road.
it's a
It's
Jeep.
a Jeep
It's
thing.
a Jeep
It's a
thing.
Ge- it's a
How
Jeep
many
thing.
nights do you think you slept in a Jeep?
I slept a fair amount of nights in the Jeep. Yeah. Yeah. No, the Rossi gig was awesome, man. Christ, those were the years too. Vegas was still going on. Like, did you guys do Vegas?
No, that was right
Yes.
before Berkowitz did.
Berkowitz.
But
Yeah.
I think once George and I were in a position to like where we would go to Vegas,
Yeah.
was like the
It's
first
done.
year that it was done.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
is kind of a bummer.
Also, my Vegas experience was way different than Adam's Vegas experience. Again, the difference of like working in-house versus being a sales rep.
Well, I was technically in-house, so I would have to go. I mean, that was the thing. I used to have to go and set up before the big trade show and break down after the big trade show. So it would literally be like 10, I think I spent 12
Yeah, it was usually
days
10 to
in
14 days, which is wild.
insane. And
I did that
just-
too. You just had
taxing.
more fun at night, I think.
Yeah, probably. Some good times.
It's a different podcast.
Yeah.
Different
Yeah,
podcast.
it's all good.
Vegas, Rosignol years, Mount Hood was another just
did
kind
you
of highlight.
drive that Jeep to Hood?
I would usually fly to Salt Lake or to Park City where the Rossi headquarters were obviously there, and then we would drive from Park City to Hood but that was even in and of itself that was like a 12-hour drive or so.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Mount Hood years were pretty cool. You'd have to go to Mount Hood for about 2 months every summer, but it was basically like boys camp out there. It's just a bunch of people doing the same job as you, essentially. We'd
Skiing, partying.
yeah, go ski
taking
in
in
the
the sun.
morning, tune
Yeah.
some skis for a couple hours, go ride mountain bikes for a couple hours, and then go to Charlie's Mountain View Tavern and tie one on, have some food
Mhm.
every night.
Huckleberry shakes.
Huck shakes, yeah. Katrina, God.
So so after Rossi and maybe my memory is just a little hazy, but after
Yeah.
Rossi there might have been something, but then you two guys got hooked up at Fisher.
Yep.
Berkowitz hired you to a certain degree or something.
Pretty
How
much.
did that work? How did you end up at Fisher?
Yeah, well, started, I think, just spoke to you first and foremost
Yep.
about the position of product manager becoming, available at Fisher. And I was at a point with Rosignol where I was ready to, I kind of wanted to be a sales rep essentially, but also recognized that the two guys that were in place as sales reps in New England weren't really going anywhere anytime soon.
Still
So they're still there. Yep. God love them. So Berkowitz basically, helped me essentially get hired as a product manager at Fisher under
Willie Booker.
Willie
at the
Booker.
time. So Willie had just been hired. It was a pretty lean team there at the time. Willie had just gotten hired. I was doing marketing and product, and he quickly realized like this is not effective. When he started, he was like, "Hey, I'm not doing this to micromanage, but I want to be CC'd on all your communication with Austria, just so I'm in the loop." And quickly realized like, okay, there's 5 product managers in Austria, and you're getting emails from those guys and phone calls every single day. And then there's 11 people in the marketing department over there, and you're dealing with that. Like, we got to hire somebody. You have anybody in mind? Adam and I had obviously known each other before that.
Right.
He was looking for a change, and it worked out.
Yeah, it did. Because I mean that year we went to Jackson with you guys. George and I went to Jackson with you guys.
That's right.
That year. That was I think your second or your first year at Fisher. I
Yeah.
can't remember. Something like that.
Yeah.
For the focus group for the new Ranger boots.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was the new Ranger boots. And that,
Yeah.
I remember sitting there being like, man, we're coming out right now. But it was like a pipeline kind of a project. And
Yeah.
but that was fun. The conditions that year compared to now must be nice. We go to Jackson every year, but like that year was compared to the last
Yeah.
handful. That was pretty rugged.
Yeah, it was tough.
I remember that was rugged. Like doing that Rock Springs lap. Then it was like
Low tide.
it was crazy.
Low tide.
It was crazy.
Yep.
Also, Larry love Larry, but that was one of the most aggressive falls I think I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, I remember that.
He exploded. You remember that?
Yeah, yeah.
I was right next to him.
Larry Hardenstein. Yeah, he went
and
down hard.
Shout out to Larry if you're listening. Larry, I love you.
Yeah.
But that was aggressive.
Yeah.
He got right up though.
Yeah.
He popped right up.
He's a Jackson guy, man. Of course, he's tough.
Well, he was leading us around.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, right this way. And I just happened to be standing there. He just exploded.
Boom.
Charges everywhere. Charges everywhere.
No, that was a fun experience. I mean, Matt and I obviously traveled a ton together. We got to go to Austria all the time. We were in Europe a bunch, Slovenia, Ukraine. We went to Ukraine together. Matt got bit by a radioactive spider in Ukraine.
No superpowers.
Now he throws webs. But yeah, no, we had some good times. And I learned a shitload from that company, man. It was pretty wild, like because I didn't really have much experience in actual product development design, but kind of jumped into it, trial by fire style, and learned a lot.
But when you were there, I mean, that was the development of that new Ranger 102, was it not?
Yeah.
And both you guys had your fingerprints all over that project.
Totally. And that was,
that was the first year of where it being the pink Ranger 102, which is right behind us, right there.
Yeah.
So that was like your first, as a product
year,
manager, that
pink,
was your kind of your baby, right?
That was kind of one of the things that I still hang my hat on to some extent.
Awesome.
It was a pretty cool project, and it actually ended up being a really fucking good ski. So
really good ski.
And it was one of the first projects in my tenure there, which was however many years before you got there, that it was truly like an American, idea, concept that came to fruition. And it was like, it had started for years where we needed that 100 wasted ski. Previous to that, it was a big 6-100. Then we didn't have anything, and it always comes down to how many units can you sell? How many units? So it took a few years to get it going. And then, it's obviously different now, but that 102 is still in their lineup.
I mean, that ski, like for those years, I mean, that was a cult following ski. I mean, people still ski it. You still see it everywhere. People still talk about it. Did you guys realize when you were doing the pink at the time, that you're like, oh, we have to have a blue? And did you realize that the pink would have such a bigger grasp on the market?
I wasn't there. I wasn't there for the pink, actually. I left, because there were some issues internally there that didn't quite agree with me. So I did
so it would have been right at that
check
moment.
out. But I remember the year after I left, basically, they added the pink one, right? Because it was blue initially, and then they added the pink one too. And I remember going up to everybody and be like, hey, Matt, remember this great ski? Yeah, they made it pink, Come on. But no, it's those guys. That was a fun project for sure.
And then from Fisher, transitioned back to the rep world.
Yeah,
and you got involved in Tech Blizz.
Yeah. Signed on with Dana Greenwood for initially as kind of a partner in his agency, and that went really well. It was a great relationship that I had with him, and then things evolved there to the point where I've, now I'm doing Blizzard Tecnica New England with my new current business partner, Dave Nine, who you guys know really well, obviously, too. And we've got a really good portfolio. Yeah, we do Blizzard Tecnica. We've also got Nerona Apparel, which Dave brought to the table. We just picked up Scott Winter Sport Products as well. So we got goggles and poles and gloves now, which is funny because it harkens back to the Peter Kidd days when I was getting my start.
Back to your roots, dude.
So, yeah, full circle there, I guess. And then we also have Pit Viper, which is another really fun brand to sell these days. So,
dude.
Yeah.
That's quite the catalog.
Pretty psyched. Yeah.
Man.
So far, so good.
Quick Dave story. I know you're listening, Dave. And I give him shit for this all the time because, now he's in a different life. But when we first opened, I always get, the story is we had our grand opening party in 2014. And at the time, he was a tech rep for Marco Vogel, Dalbello. And Marco Vogel Dalbello refused to open us. That was when it was Reese at the time. It was Reese, Beach and Healed, and whatever story they wanted to spin. I don't know. But they said, we can't sell you guys skis. and but then we can sell you bindings. You can sell you bindings. And at the time we were getting the same kind of pushback from most vendors.
Yeah.
And I thought that George and I had a pretty good relationship with Reese and Beach, and that would, help us out as we're trying to start this new ski retail store in downtown Boston. And of course they didn't. So I was pretty pissed, obviously. And
you pissed? Eric?
Yeah,
Come
I was
on.
pretty pissed, obviously.
You don't get
and so
pissed.
I remember
Get
the
even.
grand opening party, and Dave walks in, he like strolled in the door, like this poor tech rep. You know, Aaron's probably like, Dave, you have to go down to Ski Monster, you know, like see what's going on. They're throwing like this grand opening party. And poor Dave was like, okay, you know, and he walked in. I remember just looking at him and be like, what the fuck are you doing here? He's like, dude. I'm like, what? No, seriously. What are you like? Where's Aaron? Where's Beach? Like they send you to the into the Lions Den, Dave?
Yeah.
And he's like, dude, come on. It was so at the time, it was funny. We ended up having a good time that night. He partied his ass off. It was super fun.
Of course he did.
But it was funny because like I remember that day like being told no, and then literally like a couple days later, like Dave walks in wearing all vocal gear. I'm like, what are you doing here?
Walking into the Lions Den.
What are you wearing that for? Like I just had it like a pretty serious conversation with, you know, like the people that send you in here, and they just fucking fed you to the Lions. But he took it in stride. It was all good.
Yeah, no, Dave's a good dude. And like I said, it's cool. You know, Dave and I have a good thing going right now. And I think it's a little unique in the industry because it's, you guys know, there's a lot of reps that have been doing it for a long time. It's kind of been a good old boys club for a long, long time. And, you know,
it is kind of crazy that like you were able to make it to the position you're in because no one like has the like wherewithal to like,
oh man,
to keep it all going.
Yeah. The emotional endurance that I had for this whole thing.
Paying dues, dude.
Oh God, tell me about 20 years or so of kind of paying dues. But it's cool to finally see, I guess, a little bit of this changing of the guard. You know, you got Aaron Reese, for example, who's not, you know, he's not old, but he's not young, but he's not old. And so there is a little bit of this kind of, you know, there's some younger dudes getting into this.
Yeah, you guys both kind of, you guys both had the stamina, and I'm really stoked. We're all stoked to see both you guys.
Thank you. I feel like it's just in time for ski companies to realize that AI can probably do everything that I do anyway.
Well,
but
don't say that quite yet. You got to get that boat first, dude.
yeah, the boat's got to come. Right.
AI cannot puke in a Jeep.
That's true. There's a lot of things that I can do that AI can't do.
Like what?
That's another podcast.
So yeah, dude. So stoked that you finally got your own book of biz, and I'm stoked for Dave that you guys got something really good going on.
Thank you.
All the brands that you currently have are pretty fantastic. So that's got to feel pretty good.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, I couldn't be more stoked, you know, to have a couple brands that we do a lot of business with, and you're the representative that we deal with. So that's awesome for us.
Yeah,
too.
you guys. I mean, the Nerona stuff downstairs. I was just kind of strolling through the apparel stuff, and it's merchandised perfectly. The collection is dialed. It's just like I wish there were more shops like you guys doing what you're doing with that.
We just need some colder weather and for winter to kick in.
Yeah.
So while you're here, we did this a couple weeks ago, and it went really kind of fun. And it was me and three other different people in these seats. So I was like, you know what? Since Adam's here, like let's do another topic. Let's do another snake draft topic and throw Adam into the fire a little bit. And Berkowitz and Giorgio were both not on the first pod.
I am so nervous about the rules. About this goes.
I know.
Me too.
So those who are listening,
I don't even know the
we're gonna do
rules.
another snake
This
draft.
podcast
with
is just going
Snake.
to end up just making fun of me and how I can't like follow along with what's
And
happening.
I'm going to do the rules again real quick because George is obviously confused about the rules. And so we'll go through it one more time. So random name generator came out with the order. What we're going to do, the topic today is going to be the best hard goods names. So whether it's a ski or boot or a binding, what are your top 4 names for a hard good?
Dude, so but like what is best
To you,
mean?
it's your personal favorite, like your personal
But
favorite.
are we
hard good
just
names.
going based on like the name, like this name's hilarious, like that mixed list,
yeah.
or like
You could-
this is an iconic product
Both.
name that
Both.
sold
Both.
a ton of.
Both.
Anything
whatever
that's going to
personal
spark
reason,
conversation.
Whatever personal reason, and when you say what your answer is or what your choice is, then you give a little rat tat. Give us all a little explanation of why you chose it, and then we can go on to the next person, make fun of you, not say good pick, whatever. That's how
It's
snake
meant
draft
to
works.
spark some conversation.
Yeah.
Haven't you done a podcast
Yeah.
before?
Duh.
Yeah,
Jesus.
what if there's no real reason other than you're like, this is just a funny name?
Well, that's lame. You got to come up with a better reason than that.
Well,
I'm gonna need 15 minutes.
Oh my god. Okay, let's break. Let's go come back in 15. Okay, we're back. Bergwitz so that was our quick 15-minute break. Bergwitz is ready to go. So everyone kind of understands the rules. There's been a lot of really cool names for skis and boots and bindings over the years that we've been in the industry, and then some. So let's just get into it. I random name generator during that 15-minute break, and it came out with draft pick number 1, George. Draft pick number 2, Berkowitz. Draft pick number 3, Adam, and the caboose is myself. So
weird. Eric gets to go
how it's gonna
fourth
go-
and then right again after that.
it was a random name generator.
so random.
Okay. Maybe you shouldn't ask for 15-minute break.
Like, where do you find a name generator? Like, what are you
I
talking
just
about?
typed it into
Yes,
Google. on my
AI.
Oh,
desktop.
ChatGPT?
Yep.
I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
that would have worked too, but I didn't use that. I'm old school.
We've been
little
using AI for basically everything.
So, all right. So those are the rules. And so we're gonna do best name of whatever your personal favorite names for a hard goods, whether it's a ski
Now
boot
you're
or
changing
binding.
the rules.
And no, that is the rule. That's the same name. It's the
I
same
think
name.
it can be a little loose. It can be funny. It can be right.
Oh,
I mean,
but yeah,
you
but
know,
it's all on you. Whatever you want, whatever
okay.
you like.
All
It's
right.
up to the
All
person.
right. Yeah. I mean, it's a podcast.
It's a podcast.
It's meant
No
to.
one's listening to this.
That's-
Actually,
God, I
a lot of
hope
people are
not.
listening to this, which is kind of scary. Okay, so up 1 is Giorgio. So Giorgio has the first pick. So first pick of this podcast, Hard Goods Name Draft. Get it going.
So I just say the name of this.
Well, just give what's your number 1 pick? What's your number 1 pick?
Number 1. Oh shit, I didn't really do them in
Oh,
order.
and hold on, time out. Just so we can. I forgot to say this. We all know this, but just to say one more time, if George picks a name that we have on our list, we
Right.
can't pick it. We have to pick something different.
Yeah.
Okay. Go.
I play fantasy, dude. I play
Good.
fantasy.
See, he gets it.
The Solomon Extreme.
It's a great choice.
They nailed it timing wise. Wordplay of extreme, the yellow skis, everything about it, unbelievable. Solomon, per usual, just like naming something perfectly with the time. They're unbelievable at naming skis.
That's a fantastic pick. Solomon X Scream.
Good pick.
Good pick.
Agreed.
I mean, that's the number. Isn't that the number 1 selling ski of all time?
Black
No.
Pearl.
Easy.
No, I'm just kidding.
No, I mean it might be the Black Pearl. No,
Getting
but
there.
wasn't
Getting
wasn't
there.
wasn't there a time where the X Scream was considered the number 1 selling ski of all time?
I think so. Well,
And
Not
wasn't
sure.
it made by? And wasn't it made
I
by
don't
Fisher?
know.
Maybe just at that time.
Rossi
It
4S, I think.
at that time, but
still
yes, Fisher did make that ski.
Yeah.
7S,
So
4S.
Fisher was making one of the best skis of all time at that time.
Yeah, they did that.
And it
with-
didn't say Fisher on it.
They
Yeah.
did that with a lot of companies. Right when I started,
Still
trying to throw
right
you
when I
guys a
started
bone.
there, when I was walking through the warehouse, there was a lot of Nordicas.
Okay, so we can agree that
Yeah.
it was one of the best selling skis of all time.
Sure. Yes.
Yeah.
There we go.
For sure.
Perfect.
Yeah.
George, great pick.
Thank you.
Berkowitz, you're up.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna follow up with one from that same company, so I don't know if I should.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, do it, dude. If that's your
They're
number one-
killer
if
at
that's your number
naming
one pick.
skis.
And you're gonna get mad at me.
Yeah, you can take it.
I figured this would be on
As long as
everybody's
you,
list.
you just
but
have to explain why it's
the-
funny.
The Solomon Pocket Rocket.
Oh, yeah, that was on my
that
list.
was
Fuck.
good.
That's a good pick. That's a great name.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great name before, but Adam and I have a little story that, again, that naming products in this industry is extremely difficult.
Brutal.
Solomon and K2 are really, really good at it. Solomon protects everything. So they trademark everything. So years later down the road, we've talked about this internally a ton. Like, when are they coming out with the new Pocket Rocket?
Yeah.
Dude,
Eventually, it's going to happen. It's
I mean,
gonna be a
that
sick
name
ski.
is so good. That was
Yeah.
my number 1 pick. Now it's
Yep.
yours. Like that is such a great name, and now that they can market that now with obviously waist widths and such. It would be fucking
Yeah.
so hot, dude.
So you
Yeah,
tell
but
the story here.
so I was going to use that one too, obviously, but there's a little bit of backstory behind it too. When we were working for Fisher, Jan Weiss, the what was his position? I don't
He's
know.
the head of the Alpine division.
Head of Alpine division. He's telling us about, because he worked for Solomon and Annecy at at some point in his career, and he's talking about the Pocket Rocket and how that name, a Pocket Rocket in Europe or in German or in some European aspect, is a vibrator, a women's vibrator, a pocket rocket. So they just were like, "What the hell is this? You're naming a ski after a vibrator?" And so
Dude, that's so good.
that's why I think that's kind of
That's
It's
awesome.
got some good irony
Yeah,
behind it,
that's
as
an
well.
awesome story.
Yeah, yeah.
I have another funny story about Jan. You know, Matt threw a snowball at his head in Jackson.
Not true.
oh, that
Ice
was on
ball.
that trip that we were doing the Ranger boots. Yeah.
Not true. But we did see him get hit with a snowball
Gassed him right in the side of the head.
in front of the mangy moose. Somebody was whipping snowballs at everybody. But
Dude, it was so similar to the Mrs. Doubtfire scene where he fucking throws a piece of fruit. Oh, it's a run by fruiting.
yeah,
It was very similar.
yep.
And then he was up on the deck, and then he gets smoked.
Oh, sir, I saw it.
He was pissed. You ducked down. You're hiding.
Dude, I didn't even see it. You told me about it.
Oh my god. Oh my god. You wrote
Adam,
about that.
you are up next.
Yeah. Okay. Check my list here and see if I can find a good one. So Well, you know what? Actually, so one of the early skis when I was working for Elan, making $2,000 a month, right?
Mm-hmm.
They did a ski. It was called the 666.
Dude,
Oh
six
yeah, we
ski.
love that ski.
You
dude.
remember that thing?
That thing was
Six.
awesome. Triple
Yeah,
six.
and just the number of the beast. That was actually a really good ski, and it was like a full on Slayer. Like,
It had the tribal graphic.
yeah,
And then
was a
it
great
was
ski.
76 millimeters underfoot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
That
which
thing
was wide at the
Giorgio
time.
bought one, and then when you bought it, it was kind of a weird because everyone was doing system at the time, and you bought it flat. Remember?
Bought it flat, yeah.
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 We bought it flat. And we put it would have been like a Tyrolia shit, like a D. But it would have been a
I don't
body
know.
that had that old diagonal heel on it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That old
Plus,
diagonal heel.
Iron Maiden's fucking sick.
Mhm.
So
And that wasn't even that
666.
long. That was like early 2000s, wasn't it?
2003.
Yeah. That wasn't
At the
No,
earliest.
no. The earliest 2003. Yeah, when you bought it, it was like
Oh, it might have
probably
been
07. Yeah.
Yeah, 07.
Yeah, probably around then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Peak, tribal graphic
Yeah.
time.
And then they did
Tram stamps and armbands, that whole thing.
Yeah.
And then
Elon nailed it.
and then they did
Elon nailed the graphics of that time.
Yeah. No, that ski was far superior than any other ski that they had built like in that series. Because then they tried to do the 777, the 999,
Right.
Yeah.
and it was like, oh, this is cool. It was like a
888,
good series, but that 666 was just
Yeah.
far superior. Because remember, I got a 777 the year after. It was like
Yeah, you did.
hideous graphic. Why did I get that? Well, I know why I got it because I had those orange pants with that brown North Face jacket, and the skis matched my outfit.
You bought skis to match your
Remember
outfit?
that? And they had the star on it. Remember the first time we went out, the star came off, and I'm like, "What the fuck?" And you and Craig thought it was the funniest thing you've ever seen in your life,
Dude, so in the Blizzard presentation we were looking at earlier, they had like all the Blizzard like Bonafides, Brahmas,
Yeah.
Cochise, all that up, like the first gen. The first gen Cochise, Brahma, Bonafide,
Mhm.
like just nailed the Ed Hardy True Religion Affliction thing.
It was wild.
Yeah,
Dude, we're like, like you can almost like imagine, what was that brand called? Like Famous, but like you can almost picture, like remember on MTV and shit,
like the Von Dutch era.
Von Dutch era,
Yeah.
yeah.
Dutch,
Exactly.
Yeah, a bunch of
Yeah.
star tattoos
Yep.
and shit.
Mm-hmm.
Sick.
But
Yeah,
I
big-
mean, looking at those today, it was like all of us were like, ugh. But at the time,
Dude, at the time,
Absolutely
that
nailed
ski,
it.
it was on the cover.
Nailed it.
It was on the cover of Ski Magazine.
They were more Ed Hardy than Ed Hardy was.
Mhm. Mitchell gave me a pair of those skis. I've said that before, but he hooked me up with those skis.
Speaking of Ed Hardy, Dan Mitchell.
Yeah,
Yeah.
True Religion.
Yeah.
That's his middle name. Dan True Religion Mitchell.
Dude, look at this.
Love you, Dan.
How many
All right, so-
ounces is
I
that?
know, God.
All right, so 666, great pick, awesome ski, one of our personal favorites. I didn't even think of that one, so that's kudos to you, Adam. All right, so my pick, I get back-to-back picks, Brickless.
Yeah.
FYI, just let you know,
yeah.
in case you forgot.
It was
who
random, though.
Random.
Randomly.
I'm gonna do a homer pick because Adam's here, and I'm gonna go with the Blizzard answer.
Oh,
Ooh, the answer.
go with the answer.
Yeah.
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 I think that name is fantastic. I
Yep.
think you guys dropped the ball on not bringing it back. That's another one of those like pocket rocket names.
Yeah.
Like Blizzard could easily have an answer 99, answer
Who was the
109.
basketball player that was the answer?
AI, Allen
That was
Iverson.
AI, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, Allen Iverson.
Yeah. So,
I had like a couple of Allen Iverson jerseys, dude.
yeah,
I love that guy.
that's a good name.
Should have won an NBA championship, but ran into the Lakers too many times. All right, so I'm going to go with the answer as my number one pick. And I think that's another one of those skis that I think Blizzard, if they're wise, what do I know? But could be another series of skis in the future where they bring back that name and you have like a, whatever it may be, Waste with Wise. And the answer is a very marketable name. Obviously, you could talk a whole story about, we listen to all your questions and we have the answer, So you have that. That's a pretty good story.
That's
so
a
yeah. So
pretty
anyways,
good story.
I mean,
Thanks.
I'm just saying.
I'll pass that up the food chain.
Yeah, well, they're listening, so I can send them a consultant invoice. Okay, so I get another pick because it's random,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm gonna go with. No, I'm not gonna go with that. Or I have a couple. I don't know if you guys are gonna pick them, so I'm just gonna go with the one that I think is one of the most clever, one of the most clever ski names.
Okay.
And that's the Armada Vajayjay.
It's on my list.
Yep. The Armada Vajayjay was, that is really, really clever. Really clever. I the fact that they even made that ski and like literally like marketed it as like this is the women's JJ and they call it vagina is awesome. So I'm going with JJ.
That's a good one.
Mm-hmm. All right, so
It's a good pick.
it goes back the other direction. So Adam, it goes back to you.
Back to me again.
Mhm.
Okay. Oh, you know what? Well, I'm gonna go with the one that like kind of started like that I kind of fell in love with skiing on to some extent, and that was the Dina Star Troublemaker. Not that it's a great name necessarily, but I think it was a great ski. It was actually a phenomenal ski. It was a really fun kind of twin tip that you could shred the whole mountain with. I think it was probably one of those early iterations of kind of what we know as today. What we know of today is the all mountain twin, basically. You know, just an ability of a stout, solid little ski that you could shred on. You could also take it in the park. It had just kind of that go anywhere, do anything type of ability.
But also for you, very like nostalgia vibes, you know?
Yeah, totally. Well, I was working retail when that thing. That was definitely like I think I was in college or something like that when I got a pair of those. But
so like, you were like, shit, this is dope. The ski is sick. I can do all the stuff that I couldn't do on a pair of race skis.
Yeah.
So for you, it hits home. I like it.
Yeah.
Good pick.
Thanks.
All right, Burko.
Man,
Number 2 draft pick.
number 2. Such a long list here.
Read a dictionary over there, dude?
This is, I gotta say, man, K2 has had so many over the years. It's insane. I'm gonna go with one of the K2s, the K2 Cabrawler.
The what?
Cabrawler.
I think you're dating
I don't
yourself,
even-
dude. I don't even know what that
Yeah.
is.
Well, you guys wouldn't.
The Cabrawler?
Cabrawler.
How do you spell it? C-A-B.
Sound it out, dude.
Rawler. Cabrawler.
Who was the? bump
What is
skier?
it? What was it
There
for?
you go. So Adam's on the right track. It's a mogul ski.
It's a mogul ski.
Yeah.
Bump
Mogul
guy.
Matt.
Yeah, mogul Matt.
Yeah.
Yep.
So did you look it up? Have you figured out whose ski it is yet?
No, it's your pick. You're supposed to tell us.
So it was obviously a mogul skier. His last name was Cabral. They named it the Cabrawler.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
And
Play
that-
on words. I like it.
Yep. Very punny. Yep. But that was in the era of, like they had Public Enemy. They had like all those kind of
Also a great name.
graffiti-ish graphics. I know, dude. K2. I
Keep
could-
it on.
could fill up a book full of K2, but and like Adam said, a little bit of nostalgia there. I was never lucky enough to have a pair,
That was my next question.
but I
You wanted a
really
pair.
wanted a pair
Yeah.
of Cabrawlers.
What do they look like?
They had that ski for a number of years. Actually, the mogul ski that they still have, which is what is it, like the 344 or 944? I forget what it is, but it's literally the same mold. It just has never changed. But yeah, that was during those like kind of graffiti graphic type years.
Sick.
Yeah, sick ski.
Did he win any medals with that thing, or is it just
I think he must have, but not as many as like Mosley won on the winter heats.
Yeah. Name drop?
Oh,
I know, winter heat.
you're
That was
just
another mob.
hey,
Yeah,
hey,
you
hey, take it
crossing
easy.
them
We
all
can
off
still
the
got a couple
list, dude.
rounds
You
left.
got to
All
stop.
right.
Like, you
Public
didn't even
Enemy.
know what a winter
All right,
heat
moving
was.
on from the
what a winter
mogul
heat
corner.
was.
We're gonna go back to Giorgio. Giorgio, so you got 4 in this round. So you got the first and second. So you have 2. You have back-to-back picks.
Because it's
Okay.
random.
It's right. It's right. Like a snake.
Mhm.
Snake.
All right. So, let's see if you can guess it. I'm going to give you guys some clues.
Okay.
It was an extremely popular ski in me and Eric's ski career.
Mhm.
We didn't like it at all. The rest of the world sold a ton of them. We didn't sell any of them because the thing was never any good.
But you like the name.
It's hard not to like the name. The name's not funny. The name just it was nailed. Like at the time that it came out, they killed it with everything. The graphic was perfect. The waist width was good, and the name is just like, how could you not do that?
The Soul.
Soul
Soul
7.
Seven.
Soul
Yeah.
7. I was gonna
That's a good
say
name.
Soul 7.
Soul.
Dude, and they got like they had like the 7 series of skis, and then they got people to just say like, oh no, I just want the souls, I want the souls, I want the souls, I want the souls.
Mhm.
Like
It was
That
a great
was-
name. They beat that horse, like that dead horse, so
still
hard
beating it.
for so many years.
They're still whipping that horse, man.
I mean, that's the thing. I remember like then they went to the Sassy 7, and they were just like scraping the bottom of the barrel for
Smash.
S words. that they
Smash
could
7.
Yeah.
Smash 7.
But
Smash,
again, like
sin,
talking
I
about
mean-
that's an X-Scream type of ski that it hasn't happened a ton of times in the ski industry where they were selling 10,000 units of that model, which is
That's insane.
which is insane.
It's platinum.
Well, and
Yeah.
the graphic too was like so simple, but like
Yeah.
popped, and it was sick.
When other graphics were messy,
right.
like they
Yes.
just went other
Yes.
end. We're going to do it completely clean,
100%.
and they had such a clean name.
Yep. And the light that showed through the tip.
That electrified people.
Yep.
Those 7 Series skis, though, started with Matt Ream, right? You guys remember
Yes.
Matt
Yeah.
Ream basically came up with the idea, or it wasn't actually his idea. He got it from someone in his girlfriend at the time, current wife's school or something like that. Somehow, but based on the 7 deadly sins. And they did a graphic. Do you remember that? It was an S1,
Yeah.
S2, S3.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
S7
Yeah,
series,
yeah,
and the
yeah.
S
S3 was
series.
sick.
S3 was sick.
S3
Yeah.
was so good.
Graphic was done by an artist, and they got given like one of the 7 deadly sins.
I didn't
that
fucking
every
know that.
single
That's
graphic
what was on?
based on one of the 7 deadly sins, and that was one of the most genius collections. Huge shout out to Ream for that one, because like that was so cool.
That
you
is cool. I didn't know he did
Wow.
Those individual pieces of art that were all on the skis. 7 deadly sins, greed, gluttony, all those different.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my
whatever. But
God.
yeah, that was pretty cool. And then they took that and ran with this, basically.
That's a great
kinda
idea.
extrapolated
I had
the
no
Soul
idea that
7.
he did that.
Yeah.
Huh.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That S3, I mean, anyone could get on that scheme. Like,
Yeah.
yo, this thing is awesome.
Yep.
One of the biggest rooster tails ever.
Mhm.
Remember
Yeah.
that? How much snow that thing kicked up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the era of like really turned up twin tips.
Oh, yeah.
But like the S3, like kind of that was the first like ski of like the Rustler, the Bent, the Ranger 102, like the first one to have a ski that could grip on groomers, which
Yep.
you kind of use everywhere, that was wider, but not like an absolute plank like a lot of the flagship skis were.
Mhm.
Like Mantra, Katana, original Bonafide, Cochise, all that stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was super fun ski. Jody Landry, I remember he skied those things. Shout out to Jody.
Yeah. Shout out Jody.
Yeah. I see.
All right, Giorgio. Back
Okay,
to
so
you,
I
bro.
go again.
You go again.
Okay, so next ski is kind of similar. Just like they got the name to just stick in so many people's heads for so long, and it's the Apache series from K2,
Ooh.
and like all the different names they had after Apache, like Apache Recon, Apache Crossfire.
Hellfire.
Was there Hellfire?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Apache Hellfire? I don't think so.
And
No, I think that was,
Was
a
that
Nordica.
Nordica? Yeah.
Yeah,
Nordica
Sorry.
Hellfire.
Sorry.
Yeah, Nordica Hellfire. Yeah,
We'll edit
Yeah.
that out.
yeah.
we won't. So Apache is a sick name. Recon was, I mean, they must.
Oh,
have
you know what's
sold
funny? They
so
kind of
many
reused that, didn't they, in their boots?
Yeah.
They did. I didn't
Oh.
realize that.
Yeah.
You just said it right now.
Yeah.
What Chief was part of the Apache series, right?
No, that's the leader of a Native American tribe.
Dude, definitely not PC. Got to back off that shit.
I understand it would get canceled today. That was definitely one of the skis. That was
but
definitely one of the skis.
there was Crossfire, there was Recon,
There was a wider one too.
Explorer. Was that one?
Explorer was one. That was orange. Yep. There's more that we're missing, but those were the top 3.
Yeah, then yeah.
All right, so
I'm looking
Apache,
that up.
I like
I'm
it.
looking that up right now.
Well, don't look up right now because you're up next.
Dude, see K2 Apache Chief 2005 2006.
Easy, Chief.
Okay, I don't remember that one.
It's George's pick.
I don't remember the
Chief.
chief. He said Apache Recon. Whatever. All
What,
right, you're
what
up.
color was it?
Goodness.
Yeah, show me. I want to see the photo of
That
the
must
chief.
was that a high end one? Was that like over $1,200 with binding or something?
This is where everybody on the radio right now is just going to.
Yeah.
And let's see what Spotify has, actually.
It was 500 euros.
Oh, so it was a Euro model.
Nope.
Yeah,
That's
SMU.
just- That's just what popped up first.
Yeah, that was part. That was
All right,
yeah, that was
okay.
Oh, it was red. It was red.
Oh, yeah.
Apache Chief.
Yep.
All right,
They had a yellow
Okay,
one.
You're right. I
Oh,
was
they had it
wrong.
for a few years. You remember those?
It had
Let me see.
the light that lit up.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
I don't remember that name, but
You remember that yellow one?
is that a Burn in Love?
That looks like a Burn in Love to me.
That is a 2007 K2 Apache Chief.
Interesting. Okay, you were right. I was
Where they
wrong.
got the,
Anyway.
the Burn and Love graphic,
Anyway.
I think.
Okay, so all right, you're up.
Well, you just
You are.
blew up my spot with what you were just saying. So I'm gonna
You proved me wrong.
no, but I meant what you just said. I'm gonna change it because obviously there was a lot of names in there in that Love series, but I'm gonna pivot now. Because you blew it,
Getting hostile.
I mean, you're a big K2 guy out of nowhere.
dude. The names. Like doing some research last night. I was like, man, these guys really killed it.
They do have a lot of good names.
I'm gonna go way back on this one before my time, but the Dynamique Bad Bitch.
Wow.
Whoa. Boom.
Dude, you fucking dug last
Yeah.
night, man. Huh?
Well, they
Holy shit.
had Bad Dog, Rad Dog, and Bad Bitch.
So what kind of ski was a bad bitch?
Straight. But
Straight.
they were all straight skis at that time.
What did it look like?
But you never mentioned like bring pictures of the skis.
I'm just curious. If you don't know, you can say I don't know. I just like the name. That's fine too. You don't have to show me.
I'm going to.
Dynamique.
Okay, bad bitch. All right. Well, Matt's looking up the bad bitch. Adam, you're up.
I'm gonna give it to to my current employer and brand of note, Blizzard. Bodacious is just such
Yeah,
a
it's a
fucking
good name.
great name, because it's a badass name.
It's a badass
just
name.
A badass
How many of
word,
those
it's
do
a
you
badass
guys sell
name.
globally?
Bodacious.
Yeah.
So
They gone.
they gone. But pretty rad name.
What was that underfoot?
I think
like
that was
125 or something
it
like
was
that?
ginormous. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a plank, like 50-meter turning radius or
Jesus,
something.
2 sheets of metal.
Crazy, 2 sheets of tie. But, it's just, of all the Bull Series names, I think that's probably my favorite. It's just kind of, it's a bad bitch or a badass.
Bushwhacker was kind of dope. That same time that was released.
Yeah.
That was kind of a cool name too.
Cool name.
Bushwhacker,
but
good name.
Bodacious.
Not
is-
as cool
yeah.
as Bodacious.
Yeah.
Bodacious takes the cake. Okay. All right. So I got the next two. I'm gonna go first one just because not only because we sold a lot of them, so that is like nostalgia for me here at Ski Monster, but I just think anyone that would have come out with this name would have done an awesome job. But the company that came out with the name marketed it just geniusly, and it was awesome. But it's the line Sick Day. The Sick Day name is great, and then what they did with the graphics for all those years, and then they did like
Which was your favorite
the
graphic?
blue Miami Vice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The 102s.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
they had those Miami Vice type of looking graphics, and they had like palm tree. Like they went so like not ski industry.
Yeah.
And it was just like it worked.
Yep.
It was like Sick Day 95 with like palm trees and like a sunset. You're like, I want that.
And it does. It works for that ski. It reminds me though of like those early graphics of our next year's skis that we
Yeah.
showed you today when you guys were like, no. I
Yeah.
mean, you talk about something that doesn't belong on a ski graphic. I mean, it's kind of like same story,
Mhm.
but I see the difference obviously from one category to the other. And a company like Line is a little different.
Dude, were they the first ones to do the 102 waist and really crush it in volume?
I don't know. It's a good question. I don't know if they were the first, but they were definitely one of the early adopters of that
Yeah.
waist.
And they abandoned that waist. They went to 104.
That 102 ski was awesome. It was an awesome ski.
Yep.
Bright blue too. It popped off the snow. It looked sick.
Yeah, it
I should have
did.
kept mine. I don't know why I sold it, but I did. Okay. My last pick, homer pick for me and for anyone that really works at Ski Monster, but especially for me and George, I'm going to go with the Ripstick. I'm going with the Ripstick because it's an awesome name.
Yeah.
And contrary to popular belief or whatever everyone believes out there, but George, myself, and Bill McSherry came up with the name. You heard it on this podcast.
Peter did too.
Peter did too, and Peter Kidd. It was us four.
Bringing back the original Ripstick name.
Yeah,
At a
because
focus group.
they had already had it as a name, but
Yeah, so we were at a focus group. It was back when Gary Fleming was president of Elan, and George and I happened to be invited, and we're the only retailer there, and it was all the reps, and they were going through the new collection, and they're like, we have a really exciting ski. This is the construction. This is how it works. This is why. And it was the exact same construction. It is Ripstick, what it is today. And they said the name, and George and I were sitting in the way back with McSherry, and Peter Kidd was kind of listening to us. And the name, I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was some abomination of a name.
It was like one of those names like that the Jans would come up with at Fisher for like naming
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
Like RCGT 76 WBCA.
Yeah, HD. You're like, what the fuck is that?
HD.
What kind of name is that?
It's the WWJD 76.
Yeah. And so we were whispering amongst ourselves in the back.
Dude, that might be kind of sick.
And,
R13 CAWB.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and Peter Kidd and Gary are like, what did you say? And we were like, oh, nothing. And he's like, no, speak up. And like everyone's like turning, looking at us. And I'm like, George and I are like, the name, it sucks. The name sucks. And I think it was Melania at the time when she was doing the presentation. And she was like,
And Matias was there.
and Matias was there too. And they're like, yeah, but the ski is awesome. The technology is insane. Like this ski is going to change, the way people can go skiing. And we're like, that's awesome. But like, no one's going to buy like the BMT HD XT RC 1000. Like no one's going to buy that thing. And they're like, back to what you guys were saying earlier, how hard it is to get names and hold on to them.
Yeah.
They're like, well, okay, what do you recommend? We can't just like come up with something new. And I remember we were all discussing, and McSherry, we were like, yeah, the Ripstick. And he was like, yeah, you guys still have Ripstick. And they said, well, everyone associates that ski with frontside carving because they initially had a Elan Ripstick that was just a consumer race ski.
Yep.
And we were like, nobody even knows what that ski is. That was so like pigeonholed product. No one knows what that is.
Oh, it's a weird ski.
So just call it a Ripstick and then give it waist widths. And they start speaking in whatever they're speaking to each other. And then they're like, okay, we'll think about it. And you're like, okay, I'm just saying, I think that if you're talking about creating a brand within a brand, a Ripstick series will definitely get you in the right step in the right direction. So we leave the folks group, we're like, we maybe we talked about it on the way home, but then it was kind of like fleeting, and then literally a few months later, we get a box from Elan, and it's the prototype, and it says Ripstick on it. And they're like, thanks for the input at the focus group. Hope to see you guys again soon. We're like, oh, dude, they did it. Which is pretty cool. So that's my last pick because we had a pretty, somewhat, I think, an involvement in naming it. And the success of the product has been obviously, it speaks for itself. So, all right, that's my last pick. And back to Adam for your last one. We'll wrap this up.
My last pick is, man, I don't know.
But your list is on your phone right there.
I know, and I know what the last name that I have on there is. It's not that great.
Do you want some of mine?
Yeah.
You want some of mine? Dude, go with your gut.
Man.
Go with what you put on your list.
Yeah, go with what you chose.
You know what? Actually, I'm going to go back to Dina Star because I actually think this was a pretty iconic ski, and it's one of my favorites still. I was young, a little bit before my time, but the 4x4. Dina Star 4x4.
Oh, yeah.
4x4,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, that was a badass name. Obviously talking about a big pickup truck, kind of referencing a badass pickup truck. And that ski was just phenomenal. So
It's a good name. And
yeah,
they still
two
use,
Dina Stars on my list. Jesus Christ, that's pretty impressive.
Well,
Yeah.
nostalgia for you, dude. And when they still use that as a technology, that name
Do they really?
Mhm.
Yeah.
for their construction.
Yeah.
Right? The 4x4, don't they call that
pretty
out?
sure
Like a 4x4
I think so. I
construction?
remember Matt saying that last year when
Yeah, with like the core and like how they do
Yeah.
the metal, they call it like 4x4 construction. or
Yeah,
something.
Yeah.
I believe so.
Yeah.
That was a ripping ski.
All right, Berkowitz, final pick.
We're gonna have to do honorable mentions after this,
Okay.
but everybody is just doing skis, so I'm gonna have to do a boot
Okay.
because it's a boot that, again, I never had, but I thought was really friggin' dope, and I wanted was the Lang Banshee.
Oh, yeah.
Banshee, dude. Okay.
Yep.
Just obviously really sick name. It looked really dope at the time, and it was just like that was like the boot.
The
You know,
Banshee.
you had to be like such a badass skier to have that boot.
Was it just like really stiff, or like what was the
Yeah,
whole thing?
it was stiff. It was, it was like the hottest shit at the time. There was a bunch of athletes in it. It was very narrow. Yep, which is one of the many reasons I couldn't have it. But
Lang Banshee.
yeah, Banshee, sick name.
Sick name. All right, Giorgio, bring us home.
It's another like kind of cult following type thing, but the pivots.
Pivot's a good name.
Yep.
People it has stuck in people's head. The binding hasn't changed in 50 fucking years. They changed the colors, put a Pit Viper thing on it, and it's still relevant. People
Yeah,
eat it
they
up.
put Pit Viper colors on it every
Don't
year.
you ski on fucking pivots?
I love pivots,
Yeah.
dude. I put it on that Rustler 9 and it just
He's a pivot ambassador,
it
dude.
sets that ski a lot. It sets it to it
Were you on?
turns it on.
Were you on pivots when you got the best photo of your life?
Probably.
How do you not? How do you not know? Because if you're not,
That's true.
if
That's
you're
very true.
not on pivots in that photo,
We can probably zoom in, but we don't need to do that now because if it ends up being like a marker or something, I'm going to be embarrassed. So let's just say it was a
definitely
pivot.
We already know the answer.
Yeah,
which
it's a
is why
marker.
Burke was
It
leading
was
up
a
that question.
pivot. It was a pivot 15.
Who took that photo, by the way?
Barnsey,
Yeah.
Barn burner.
barn burner photos.
I like it.
Yep.
Were you able to get an image without the watermark on it?
No,
Not a
of course not.
chance.
He wouldn't give me one.
Yeah.
No, definitely not, dude. I just can't do
All
that
right.
for you, dude.
So
We gotta-
to wrap.
yeah.
we're gonna do honorable mentions, but Adam needs to get out of here. So let's just wrap like this part real quick, and then we'll do some honorable mentions. So George, his list: X Scream, Soul 7, Apache, and Pivot. Berkowitz went Pocket Rocket, Cabrawler, the Mogul Corner over there, Cabrawler, the Bad Bitch, and the Lang Banshee. Sank went 666, sick, Troublemaker, Bodacious, 4x4, and I went Answer, Vajayjay, Sick Day, and Ripstick.
Yeah.
Okay, solid lists.
Do you? All right. So just like quickly list off. You must have had 8 or 10. Let's start some of the other ones.
Quick one that I thought was really cool, and there's a whole other, and I think everyone would agree would be a Line Prophet. The Prophet is one of those that's really cool. Kind of set the stage for the way skis are built now. Other one that was kind of funny that I wanted to do was the marker schizo binding. Remember
Oh
that?
yeah.
Oh yeah.
The schizophrenic
schizo,
binding.
yeah.
That was so funny.
That was good. Yeah.
It goes forward and back.
Forward
Oh,
and
you're
back.
skiing POW, go back. Or ski the park, dude, go over center. And you just like turn
Dude,
the screw.
is the schizo still around? Is
No.
that still in catalog?
I don't know. You could probably order. They probably have a bunch in a warehouse somewhere.
Is it indemnified? I don't know. I wouldn't want to work on that anymore.
That was such a funny mount too. It had like that metal like twist
the
tie
cord.
underneath.
Yeah, it had like the cord.
So those are my couple that I'd call out for a honorable mention. So if you want to call anything else out, Burke, let's go. For it.
Giorgio, you got some? You must have some.
Go ahead. I was just thinking about like some of the worst products in general, not names, just like dumbest ski products that ever existed.
Well, that was the tough part because like you guys went pretty like iconic names that were sentimental.
I
Like
went close to heart, dude.
I would have done things differently had I known that. And some of them aren't like sweet names, but like the 1080 ski for me,
It's a great
like,
name.
It's not on my list, but like because it's not like the most creative name, but that played a big role in.
at the time though, dude, that was a
Yeah.
big deal. Then and then Jay Lev won something with a 1260.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I had just thinking about it last night. K2 over the years had so freaking many, but one that I'd never even heard of, but they had one in the 70s called the Cheeseburger Deluxe.
Oh wow.
Was a K2 ski, yeah. The Pink Panther boot.
Oh, yeah.
Spatula. Fat Love.
Pontoons.
Pontoons. Nordica Eldorado.
Eldorado's a good one.
K2.
Dude, how crazy is this? K2 had the hell bent, and they
Yeah.
didn't just do bent, which would have completely
Unbelievable.
fucked
yeah.
up Atomic. Could you
Yep.
imagine?
Yeah.
It'd just be the Chetler.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it
Chet,
wouldn't
just
sell the
Chet.
way
Yeah,
that it
Chet
does
100.
now.
You got the Uncle Chet 90.
K2 Pieced Stinks. They had that whole Pieced collection, which was Mike Hatrip, like when they were doing telemark skis. Dolomite Secret Weapon. That was the boot that like came up to your knee, which was really crazy. Ripstick was on there. K2 Mamba.
Okay.
Solomon Superforce. Another K2, the Jerry Launcher.
Oh
Jerry
yes,
Launcher.
dude. It was the Jerry Garcia graphic. It would have like
which
Jerry's
was like
face, like
pre what
Oh,
we now
man.
know
I know
as
it's Jerry.
Jerry.
Yeah.
That was
but it was
awesome.
called the Jerry Launcher.
Yeah.
Good time there.
The only snowboard I have on here, I thought the Solomon Dance Hall is a pretty dope little name.
That's a good name.
Yeah.
Yep. And then I had to put
The Hometown Hero's a good name too.
Hometown Heroes. A good
Burton
name.
Hometown Hero.
Yep.
That's a hell of a name for
that's
a
a
board.
Burton one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good.
Mhm.
That's good. The only one I didn't say was the Rossi Slat, and the only reason I liked it was because it was black ski and it had the red writing slat, red letters, and you could change the A to a U really easily with just a black Sharpie. You could make it the Slut. It was also a pretty sweet ski. It was
Rossi
actually
Slut,
a really
dude.
good ski. It was the same ski as the Dina Star Slicer. It was that
Yeah.
Oh, right.
96,
Yeah.
97 waisted twin tip. That was super fun. But
Another one I would have put on there sentimentally would have been the Rossi Scratch.
the Scratch, yeah.
I mean, I broke a lot of those, but that was a sweet.
So did
ski.
a lot of other people.
Yep.
I didn't break one. Does that mean I wasn't very good or?
Yeah,
Just didn't
not
send it,
skiing.
not
Yeah,
going for it.
not skiing hard
You
enough.
didn't hang out at the mogul lunch
You
table.
must have got the one good pair.
I wasn't skiing moguls on
Yeah.
that. They did have a scratch mogul ski though.
Yeah.
But I didn't see it. Serpo is a dope name. I don't know how that didn't make anybody's list.
Yeah.
I don't like it. Do you really
It's-
like it? As
I
a
mean,
name?
I mean, it's
It's
a good
different.
name, but it's not. I mean, but it's.
I
kinda
love
too
the
new.
ski.
Yeah.
Kind of
but
too
I-
new. You know.
So again, like different
I don't
rules
know,
all of a
but
sudden.
not really.
like-
It just, I'm just saying on my own personal choices. Like I just feel like it was too. Like the Playmaker is a sick name too. But that just came out. I don't really have a connection with that ski.
I mean, like the new Maverick. I mean that's
Mavericks,
a great
yeah.
name. Enforcer is honestly really good. It was genius for Nordica to bring that name back.
Yep.
Yep.
And of course, like the most honorable mention, I think that all of us, are just so familiar with because we've been doing it for so long is obviously the vocal mantra. But none of us said that. That has to be an honorable mention. That ski has
Yeah.
been around forever.
Yeah.
Yep.
Granted, they can't get out of their own way with it at the current moment. I mean, I think most expert level skiers, people who've worked in the industry over the years, can have a fond memory of a time where they skied a mantra and had a good time.
Yeah, I mean the Black Pearl is also. I mean that's coming in there too. That's just
Self promotions over here,
no,
left
no,
and right.
I mean,
Yeah.
come on, but we don't even make Bodacious anymore. But anyway, Black Pearl that's a pretty solid name, and that's become very iconic in and of itself.
Yeah,
Okay,
it
so
has.
before you get out of here, most influential product for you.
Influential products.
Yeah, like whether it was something when you were younger that like
influenced me.
yeah.
Not necessarily a ski product, but a movie. The North Face Extreme. You remember the North Face movie? It was Extreme. It was like Eric Schwarbel and like all these. Who else was in it? A bunch of guys were in it. It was this movie. It was a VHS movie that I got somehow. I don't even know. And I wore the fucking thing out watching that movie. I just over and over and over again. And you'd remember it, but it was like one of those early extreme skiing movies. And watching that, just like.
So ski movies.
I was hooked. Yeah.
You went a different direction on
that
me, but yeah,
specific
that
ski
checks
movie.
out.
And then in terms of influential products, I guess, I don't know. That's a good question. Maybe my first pair of Lang, I think I had the GX8 or the GX9, that boot was good, the first good products that I got, I wasn't a ski racer. So it was basically like, once I started to get some real products on my feet, I was like, that changed the game for me for sure.
Yep.
Nice.
Giorgio?
Dude, it's probably the 1080.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, like if, Johnny Mosley did the 360 mute, that ski was available to buy maybe that winter or the next winter. I can't really remember, but that made me so much more excited about skiing and not want to switch to snowboarding because there was like a cool graphic, a cool name. Johnny had just done that. And yeah, I mean, that made me want to be a skier and definitely got me excited enough to do all the stuff that we're doing now.
Yep.
So
Dabella Krypton.
Yeah.
That was my first real pair of my own boots that I ever owned. That was like a legit, top of the line ski boot. And just like the technology behind it at the time, how hot it was in the market, how cool I felt that I owned it. Skiability of it at the time anyways, it felt like it was awesome. And then the fact that you were like, dude, I have this product that literally is the market at the current moment.
Yeah.
And I own one and I'm skiing. It just made me feel like, all right, I'm like a real legit skier now.
Yeah.
That
And it was like fighting City Hall, getting you and George out of those boots.
It was.
yeah,
It was. We're out.
yeah.
Into some Ranger Freeze, though.
We out. Bye.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I dare you to ski on Kryptons this year.
I thought you're both in Mach 1s.
Double dog dare me.
I'm in Mox. Yeah.
No, I'm talking that was the first
Oh,
one
that
that
was the
got
first-
them out
I
of.
I was in those
understand.
coaches for 2 years, which I loved.
Yeah.
They're awesome, but they got too big. I went through 2 sets of liners, and then last year, when we were demoing testing stuff, and I put on a couple pairs of different boots, I was like, holy shit, my personal boots are way too big. Way too.
Well, they got sloppy. I remember when
Yeah.
you guys switched boots somewhere, and George put
Oh,
your boots.
at
Dude.
Alta.
George put your boots on, and he was like, "What the actual fuck?
Yeah.
What happened to these boots, Eric?"
Dude,
Cadillac
those
Escalade,
boots I
baby.
was in that day were I definitely need a lot of work on my low volume boots, and I'm in those the Alpha 130s.
Yep.
and we're shooting photos before the lifts open
Yep.
at Alta, and my feet went so numb, my hip bones started to fucking hurt.
He made me change boots on
Dude,
snow.
I couldn't fucking do it
It
anymore.
was insane.
He's like,
He made one
we
run.
gotta swap boots. I was like, are you serious? He's like, yeah, dude, just follow me down. We gotta swap boots. We're like the mid station. We switched boots. I was like, okay.
Dude,
Which was hilarious because this was their big launch product that year, and they were so fucking excited about it. And George made not even one full run. It was literally makes Eric take his boots off on the hill.
Well, I got a hammer turning them. I did
Yeah,
what I needed to do.
absolutely.
It's done.
I have insanely
Absolutely.
narrow feet and they're easy to fit. So like I won't really get much pain in any boots.
I got
was
some of
like,
those
I'm
wide
we'll
body
switch.
feet. You know what I'm
It's all
saying?
good.
Threw them on there. Yeah, yeah.
But I've been skiing those boots ever since though. So
Yeah. Yep.
yeah.
Sweet.
Sick. All right, Adam, Sync,
Yeah, boys.
Tecnica Blizzard, rep.
Oh, yeah.
Went
Thank
through
you.
the rep journey. We've known you a long time. Stoked that you're here.
Thanks for keeping
Thanks for
me
doing the meeting and the presentation
gainfully
this morning.
employed. Yeah.
Thanks for doing the pod. Thanks for being a good trooper on the snake draft. I thought that was actually pretty successful.
It was good. Yeah. You guys are rad. This is I appreciate the honor of being the first sales rep to
You know how many people are going to ask to be on now when they listen to this?
Oh,
Like,
man, you
Adam
opened a
fucking went on.
can
Yeah.
of worms.
I've been a rep so much
Yeah.
longer than Adam.
Yeah, no shit.
Everyone's going to want to do this now. You opened the door to your brethren of New England.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
And we're gonna have to get that photo because we're gonna want to post the photo
Oh yeah, no, I'll send it
with
to
the
you.
podcast. Yeah.
Even with the watermark.
Is it a watermark or is he like trying to do like a magic eye thing? Like where you just like look at it, then like he kind of pops.
No,
do you know
it's
what I'm
a
saying?
watermark. It's a
Is
proper
it?
I don't know.
like-
We could. It's literally the
he's just a big
background on
Magic Eye
it's
fan.
wallpaper on his phone, so you could just show us now.
If the new product that everyone saw today, plus with Rustler, plus with what you guys currently have going, I mean, I think your goal as a rep should be to buy a boat 1 foot longer than Aaron Reese's. Just to be a bitch.
I'm getting a boat.
Bad bitch.
Yeah, no, maybe. I'm getting a boat
Cabral-ing
that
ass
doesn't.
motherfucker.
I want a boat that doesn't require gasoline. I want a boat that uses wind power.
I just think you could just say like, oh, mine is
Definitely thought you were going to
X.
say you're getting an electric boat.
No, I'm not getting an electric.
nuclear powered.
Anyway,
All right, let's wrap.
Yeah.
All right. Adam, thanks for being here.
Thanks, boys.
All right, peace, y'all.
Pleasure.
See you.